we are going to be continuing our series of Me, Myself, and iPhone. And if you have not realized this already, this entire series is not just for those of you with phones. If you don't have a phone, all of this still applies. Because it's not just your phone use, it's also how you use your computer or what games you're playing and all of that. What? There you go. All right, whatever you're doing, right, it applies to that. Even, separate technology for a second, it even applies to your day-to-day interactions with other people. So, if you're not going like, I don't have a phone, I can't, whatever, this applies to all of us. And so that's why we're diving into this, because it matters. And the Bible talks about things that they didn't have phones back then. So like, it's not like the Bible will say, don't use your phone to do this, whatever, like it doesn't say that. But it talks about how we live our lives, and that includes what we do with our technology. And so tonight we're going to look a little bit at social media, but from a unique perspective. So growing up, I was very excited to get a Facebook. How many of you actually have a Facebook? Yeah, not many. So Facebook is often the place that like your parents are living. They're scrolling through things. They're showing you things. They're telling you to stay off of Facebook, and you're like, I don't have one. So, when I was in middle school, when I was your age, I was very excited to get my Facebook because Facebook had just launched, like right around then. I was really excited. So I hopped on Facebook, and the thing that you did back then, leaders, I need to see your raise of hands. How many of you had a farm on Facebook? You played Farmville. Yeah. Haley played on her parents' account. Zach, no? Oh my goodness. All right. So back then, Facebook was simply used to like stick a couple photos on that you didn't really like, you just wanted to put them there because you were sharing them with other people because you couldn't just airdrop them to someone. Like you had to stick them somewhere online so that people could access it. And so Facebook was exciting to do that. I know. And so I went back and I pulled up one of my first few pictures. And so this isn't my first one, but this one is like a couple years later. So I was between freshman and sophomore year. This was one of my Facebook pictures. This was my profile picture. I was very proud of my fire. It was great. Fun fact, I learned today after showing Lauren this picture that I actually cropped my friend out who was standing right here. I apparently was like, nah, not him. So like, my bad. But Facebook, you didn't really care about what you posted, but like, you just stuck stuff there. Fun fact, this picture, yeah, I was at one of my leader's houses and we cut down trees at his property and then he was like, let's burn it. And I was like, heck yeah, let's burn it. And so we burn it. So this was what we did on Facebook. We shared things with people, even if we didn't know what we were sharing. Also, fun fact, if you can't tell, that on my leg is a very large second-degree burn. It was great. No, it was from a motorcycle. But anyway, I dropped it on my leg. That is Facebook. And then there is Instagram. There's Snapchat. Nope, that's TikTok. I didn't put Snapchat on here. I have it right here. Fun fact, who knows what the world record is for the longest snap streak? Anybody know?
Like 4,000 plus days.
Currently, the longest snap streak is 2,900 and some. This year, they will hit 3,000 if they keep it going. Fun fact, also, we'll get into this in the future. Actually, we'll talk about it later. We have all of those we've got. Oh, it's gone. Bean, can you put up that image that I just had up? So, you have TikTok. You have, not that one, but that's fine. We can leave it there. We have all of these different. We have all of these different social medias. And fun fact, YouTube is considered a social media because it's sharing video and it has a comment section and all of that. Yeah, YouTube falls into the social media category. Fun fact. And then you have Twitter, run by Elon Musk now, and others. But on top of that, we also have games that we're playing online that would also, for us, be considered some form of social media or interaction. Because you're using media. For instance, if you're playing Roblox, you can interact with other people and chat with them, talk with them, do all of those things. And so we want to look at all of that in this specific message. Now, first of all, I need to say, I do not believe, and I am not making the argument, that social media is all bad. Some of you might have heard that before. I'm not arguing that social media is all bad. I love scrolling through Instagram and Facebook. Lauren finds free things on Facebook all the time, and it's weird. It's great. Not weird like bad, like weird like I don't know how she does it. But in those, it is a great way sometimes to connect with other people. Get to know what they're doing. I've come across multiple people in my family that I can pay attention to what they're doing even though I'm not with them. And so that's really cool. But sometimes, and you can do that in your games and stuff that you're playing too, but sometimes we will use social media or experience the dangers of it or the bad things that can come with it. They themselves are not bad, but sometimes they can have negative influences on us. And so tonight, we're going to talk a little bit about what the Bible says about how we interact with these things and how it can interact with us. And so, our first point is think before you type, because your words are permanent. Now, some of you might believe the lie that Snapchat disappears. It does not. It is saved on the phone, and their servers keep them for over 7 years. Yes, every single thing that if it hits the internet, it can and will be archived forever. Even if like the website disappears, if the website is deleted, there are other websites that copied that data and is now saving it and saying, look. So what I'm not saying in that is big, scary, don't do anything. But know that whatever you say, whenever you say it, and as you're getting younger and younger people are getting access to all of this faster, that unfortunately means that your words now are going to be logged when you're Dan's age. And like if I think back to whenever I was your age and younger, you're still processing, you're still figuring out where you are, what you believe, what you think. And when you post those things, you need to be aware that they will last with you as far as you go. There are some NFL coaches that have said things that they regret 20 years ago and they got fired because of those words. Your words are permanent and are held to your standard even now. And so, the first thing that the Bible says for us is James 1:19. My dear brothers and sisters, understand this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Now, if you know anything that is happening in the world right now, everybody is not slow to anger and slow to speak. And they're often not quick to listen. If someone disagrees with you, especially online, but anywhere, you often get yelled at, you're told you're bad, you're whatever, right? And so, people quickly spawn into anger instead of, let me listen to you. Let me hear what's going on. Because if we process for a few seconds, we can react differently than the words that might want to instantly come out of our mouth. And so the first thing that James tells us is, hey, listen first. And that is a wise thing. Listen first. And when it says speak, we can add that to, you should be quick to read and process, slow to type it out, and slow to be angry, right? So think before you send. Think before you speak, because there is no going back. Even if you have an iPhone now, you can undo send. You undo send, but it is still on their server. It can still be pulled back. It is not gone forever. And that will never change. You will always have access to that on servers because that is how technology actually just works. But most people, when they're online, you've probably seen this in your games. People are far more willing to be mean, rude, and crude with other people when their face is hidden. So you can jump online, create a username, and be whoever you want to be, wherever you want to be, however you want to be. And because of that, you're willing to say things that you wouldn't be willing to say in person. And so, we are challenged in Scripture to be quick to listen and slow to speak, no matter where we are. And so for us, we need to be careful of that. Because not only should we care for other people better with our words, we also know that there are consequences to our words. We don't like that word. We don't like consequences, but there are. And so we need to be careful of that. This is not only something for us to follow Christ better by using our words better, but we also need to look out for ourselves in that there are words that can hurt us even if we've been the ones to say it. So that's our first one, is be careful of what you say because your words are permanent. The second one is be picky about your words, right? Choose them well, not just in a post, but in what you say to other people, in your life interacting with other people. Ephesians 4:29 says, no foul language should come from your mouth, but only what is good for building up someone in need, so that it gives grace to those who hear. Now, think about let's go back 10 minutes. Think about the words that you might have said in our game outside, let alone before Impact, let alone at school or at home. Think about the words that you said, and are they truly good for building up the person that you were speaking to? Do you build up other people or do you tear them down? Because if you think about the words you say, every time you tear someone down, what it tells other people is that you are trying to build yourself up. Okay? So if I try and rip Zach down and Zach's now hurt, I've hurt our relationship, and other people around are going, man, what is Kenton doing? What's he thinking? Why is he saying that? And if you dive in deeper, what's he saying about himself if he's trying to say that about Zach? And so our words not only impact others, they reflect on us. And so be careful about what you say and what you post. And also, I really like what Matthew 18:15 says. If your brother sins against you, go tell him his fault between you and him alone. If he listens to you, you have won your brother. Now, if we look at this and we read that, oftentimes, especially online, people love to roast each other, right? I don't know if you've ever seen somebody just get blasted online for something that they said and they were sincere, and then all of a sudden everybody ripped them apart. Maybe you have had that happen to you, okay? When that happens, you get really hurt, and you can solve it differently. Because if you have a problem with somebody, the Bible is very clear. Go talk to them in person, privately. Social media is not private. So if I say something that you disagree with, I would far rather you come talk to me and say, hey, you did this and I didn't appreciate that. That hurt. My response will be, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I did not intend, right? But what this is saying is don't go online and post, oh my goodness, can you believe Kenton did this? Because not only have you not solved the problem between us, you've also destroyed reputations to everyone. And so, do you want to rip somebody down with your words? Do you want to tear them down? Or do you want to try and build them up? And the answer should be always build up. Should always be cared for, even if they're mean to you, right? We're called to care for other people no matter what their actions look like. And sometimes that's really hard. But be picky with your words, even when you're angry, even when you're upset, because your words impact you and your words impact other people. Now, our last one is a big one. Our words tell other people how we want to be known. Okay, that might be a big concept at first, but every time you use a word, you are telling other people, this is who I am and this is what I believe. Because all of our words that come out of us come from a deeper place inside of us. Luke 6:45 says, a good person produces good out of the good stored up in his heart. An evil person produces evil out of the evil stored up in his heart. For his mouth speaks from the overflow of the heart. And so, if you are constantly finding yourself saying terrible things about a ton of people, you might want to check yourself, right? Say, hey, what's going on? What is happening in my heart for me to want to do or say these things? Because everyone around you, when they hear them, when they see them, thinks that about you, no matter what that is. And so one of my things growing up is I myself did not struggle that much with swearing throughout middle school and high school. And I worked at a pizza shop where they all smoked a lot of things and they all swore a ton. And they made it a game to try and get me to swear anytime they could. Whether it was sneak up behind me and like hit me with something and hope that I reacted, tell me something that would cause a reaction. And you guys know me, like I react to a lot of things, right? And for me, I had to be very careful because for them, what they wanted to do is they constantly wanted to poke and see, who is he really? Is he just being this to try and be the good kid, but really behind scenes he doesn't? Let's catch him out of the ordinary or not. And they wanted to see, who are you? Because they knew that the words I used or didn't use defined who I was. And so for them, because of that alone, and my interactions with this guy, so I guess not just that, but like my interactions and words with one of these guys, he chose to come with me to church 5 or 6 years later into our friendship because he goes, man, you live differently and I just want to see why. And so he decided to come to church with me because of my words and my actions. They told him who I was and what I believed. And so we need to let our words say to others who we are. Psalm 19:14 says, may the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable to you, Lord, my rock and my redeemer. Think about your words. If everything you said to other people, online and in person, and you clearly said it to God. He hears everything. He's with you all the time, so he hears it. But if you were just saying them to God, would you be proud of those things? Are those things that you're excited that you said? Because he is always listening, he is always watching, and he knows it already. And so when you post online, make sure that it's something that is positive, it's uplifting, it's good. When you speak to other people at school, at home, even with your siblings, that's a tough one. Some of them you feel like they deserve your meanest words. Sometimes you do it on accident. Sometimes I mess up. There are multiple times where I'll say something to Kelsey that I thought was nice, and she didn't hear it that way. Because other people will interpret your words differently than you might have even intended. And that's where we go back to Matthew. It says, hey, talk to somebody in person if it causes an issue. Because if I constantly say something to someone that I didn't think was mean, but then they heard it as mean and then they get mad, they could either go tell everybody that I'm the meanest person in the world, or they could say, hey, why'd you do that? And then I go, oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't realize those words meant that to you. And so we can process and figure that out. Now, the last thing I want to look at, it's a little bit of fun here, is when people say this, oftentimes you might picture like for a long time, Adam. If you follow Adam on Instagram, for a very long time, he posted something with the hashtag Jesse, is it WOTD? WOT, whatever it is, the word of the day. It took me like a year and a half to realize what he was posting. And what he was posting was on the Bible app. It had like the Bible verse of the day, and he would post it online. And then he would put hashtag WOTD, and I was like, what is WOT? What is WOT? I didn't understand. Finally, I asked him, and he looked at me like I was dumb. But some people picture, well, all you're going to do then is just post Bible verses online and call it a day, and that's what you're telling me to do. And that's not what I'm telling you to do. Posting, that's great. It's not a bad thing. But let's look at a couple of our Instagrams. And so this is Lauren's Instagram. And what you post online, what you talk about the most to other people is the things that you often care about. And so what Lauren is telling us through her pictures is that she cares about her daughter a lot and Roger, her husband. And that's really what she cares about. And also, if you pay attention, she pointed this out. She cares about holidays because you've got Easter, Christmas, Thanksgiving, a cow, Halloween, and other things. She cares about big celebrations and fun. But that is what Lauren is publicly telling people with her Instagram, at least, what she cares about. And then we have mine, which I care about food. Kelsey's looking at me because Kelsey's face isn't technically on this. My bad. But we have food. We have games that we've played. We have the fact that my dog dropped a tennis ball in my coffee cup and I was sad. We have an impact retreat, we have my dog, and we have me cooking more food. And down below, I have food. But, and what? Oh no, that was the worship night we were doing, and then this is a Charles Spurgeon quote. But, hawking up a storm. Because people always tell me I talk a lot, and so like talking up a storm, but I'm hawking up a storm because my last name's Hawk. It's funny. All right, so what we're talking about is just because you say I'm a follower of Jesus, it doesn't mean that the only thing you have to do is post just Bible verses. It means to let your life reflect what you care about and what you believe in. And is what you care about good, or is it bad? And so pay attention to that. And so for Lauren, she's saying, I care about family. I care about people. For me, I'm saying I like food. And I'm also saying that the job that I have, that I get to work with you guys, matters a lot, because 2 of those posts had that. And then I also like my dog, which Kelsey loves my dog, and so that connects us together. Thanks. My Facebook has her on there. We only looked at Instagram. But what you post online says a lot. What you say to other people says a lot. And so, I want you to think about today, your words with other people, your words online, all of the above. Because I'm a follower of Jesus first, I want everything in my life to reflect that and honor him. Now that's difficult. That's not easy. And sometimes you will mess up. And what's awesome is that, tying way back to the beginning, when we had a couple announcements, baptism being our example of what Jesus did for us, Jesus died on a cross for us. And so just because we will mess up doesn't mean that we're instantly like, nope, you're now evil, you're now terrible. Because what we know is that without Jesus, we're broken, we're evil, we are terrible. And then when we follow Jesus, he died for us, taking that from us, taking that pain. We are now made new. And he now says, I don't see your sin, I see me. Not me, him, right? And so for us, we know that we're going to mess up here. But we also know that he died for us, and our desire is to honor and glorify him for that. And so tonight, I want you to think through these, how it works for you in your life, what that looks like most. We're going to chat about that in small groups. Know that your words have a very powerful influence on others and on yourself. I'm going to pray. We're going to jump into small groups, and then we'll come out for snack. Father God, I thank you for who you are. Lord, I thank you for dying for us so that we can ultimately be able to glorify you. Lord, I pray that our words and actions in small group and moving on out of tonight would be able to honor and glorify you no matter what. In your name, amen.